Hi, welcome to Anaprime Recap. You have decided to investigate a terrifying case, and now you will experience the secret of the haunted mansion by the master Junji Ito. On a certain day in the countryside of Japan, a group of traveling salesmen arrived in the city, causing a great uproar. They are announcing that the scariest place in the world was waiting for the public to visit. Two boys, named Satoshi and Koichi, are approached by a man in a suit, somewhat suspicious, who gives them a pamphlet and invites them to go to the haunted house. The boys are curious about the proposal, especially when the mysterious man says that if they have the courage to go, he guarantees it will be scary. Look at that dark expression. Who would accept an invitation from such a man? Well, the boys go to the place of the house, and when they get there they come across several angry people, screaming, saying that the establishment was a total disappointment. From a distance it was possible to see that the place was an abandoned dump, with some signs indicating that it was the haunted mansion. The public was outraged by the price to enter the mansion. Then the mysterious man in the suit makes a proposal. They must pay the ticket and at least experience the terrors of the mansion. If they still find it ridiculous, he will give their money back and end the entire performance, finally leaving town. Being that way, the customers got excited and decided to fall for the man's persuasion. The first man went in alone, all happy, thinking he did well. A few minutes passed, and he walked out the door, having a panic attack. People keep asking if he's okay, but he just screams in despair and runs away. Apparently the man in the suit knows very well that he has encountered some creature. It didn't take long for the matter to spread through the city, and so the police decided to go to the place to check what was happening. The man in the suit greets the officer, with his usual cold look. The officer says he has received many reports that the place has caused panic and terrible side effects on customers. He also says that there are reports of young people chained inside the place, and that's why he needs to check the inside of the house. Cordially, the man in the suit invites the officer in, and the officer will surely regret this investigation. At dusk, the boys follow the path of the mansion with a flashlight. Satoshi asks his friend if he really wants to do this, and Koichi says he needs to find out if the rumors are true. After all, even the police went there. And so, they enter through the woods and see the bizarre house in the distance. As they approach the front door, they come across a big padlock, locking the entrance. So they decide to go around, though Satoshi is hesitant, saying they've gone too far. But Koichi will move on, even if alone. That's when the boys realize that the bike leaning against the wall was the policeman's. But why had he left her there? Suddenly, howls and screams begin to come from inside the house. Before they knew it, someone was already behind the boys. It was the man in the suit with his cigar, asking what the boys were doing there at this time of night. Koichi cuts right to the chase and asks if they can go inside the house to see what's inside. But the man is reluctant. After all, it is late and the establishment is closed. The boys, who are still terrified and in a cold sweat, say they're leaving. That's when the man stops them, and says he admires their courage in trying to enter the house at night. And therefore, it will be opened at that exact moment, with a special offer only at that time. And he says to enter for free. An insane trap. But Koichi remains determined despite the panic, and Satoshi says he'll enter if his friend goes too. And so they decide to take a peek and begin to enter that dark place. In the first room, they find a table with several strange puppet heads on a shelf, and some of them are nailed to stakes. There was also a hanging body and headstones next to it. Satoshi continues with the idea of leaving, but is soon distracted by his friend as they begin to analyze the cardboard heads. The vast majority, although bizarre, are poorly made and dirty, but they notice the head of a girl. That one actually felt very real and scary. As they watched that thing, one eye opens wide and starts to laugh, in a devilish way. The boys get a big scare, and the evil head says she didn't want to scare them and invites them to play. She claims to be helping her brother, who has now started to manage this haunted house, and she laughs again. The boys try to find some explanation for that. Maybe it's a woman with her body tucked under the table. Anyway, they have no idea what she's talking about and go cautiously into the next room. In front of them, they come across a kind of pit, and inside there is a person in a traditional Japanese kimono, with his head down. Then the creature looks up. It is a toothless old woman, which starts to talk weirdly like the previous head. She welcomes the boys to her son's haunted house, and says that as a child he was always very difficult, but that he grew up and ended up building his own business. She then lowers her head again, and just says that up ahead will be the hell-themed exhibits. Did you notice a pattern among these creatures? Well, let's move on. The boys look at the sign indicating the next attraction. It says that beyond that point lies hell. Upon entering what appeared to be a cave, there was a small lake with a head sticking out of the water. The old man welcomes the boys to his son's house, just like the previous person. The boys don't even pay much attention. They comment that it's looking like a family business, and it's not even remotely scary. When they see the next shadow, they even joke, saying that it is possible that it is the owner's brother. They find a boy tied by ropes to a cross, and in his chest there are arrows stuck. On the sign it says, "Crucified Hell." As the boys had predicted, the boy identifies himself as the manager's brother. But unlike the previous family members, this one asks for help to let go of that cross. He can't stand his brother anymore, someone needs to stop that madman. According to him, as a child, his brother tried to curse everyone around him. And it is possible that you already know who he is talking about. But when the boy grew up, his powers became even more perverse, and so he imprisoned his entire family in that house. They are there under a spell, not because they want to. Yes, the traveling salesmen were the 4 members of the bewitched family back there at the beginning. Finally, he warns the boys not to go any further into the house, as his brother's son is in chains, the result of a creepy love affair he got involved in. He also says that the son is completely scary. After all, nothing normal could come out of that couple. The woman is so monstrous that her brother wanders from town to town, doing these haunted shows, just to get away from his wife. She's probably out there right now, looking for her husband who dared to take her son away. It is now that absolutely out of nowhere, nails fly towards the boy and sink into the cross. Everyone gets scared and looks where it came from. It was his brother, the mysterious manager. With his coldness he begins to question his brother on the cross, and look at that nail sticking out of the corner of his mouth. Well, if there was any doubt for you, it is now clear. That smile and the nails where the teeth are. The manager is the damn adult Tsuchi. He tells his brother that he took his eyes off him for a second and was already trying to betray him. But he warns that it's no use, because he remembers that the boy will be stuck forever working in his house. And the brother ends up only agreeing for fear of more severe and diabolical punishments. So the boys agree that they should move on. That was just too weird. As they advance into the house, the atmosphere only gets worse. Eyes and mouths appear on the walls, as well as arms sprouting from the floor. They were sure they needed to get out of there immediately. Amidst the tombstones it was possible to hear a strange noise. The boys focused their eyes on the darkness ahead. Apparently it was the chained boy, who was on his back eating something. As they approached, panic came, accompanied by a tormenting despair. They could see the policeman who had entered the house earlier, totally in pieces, being completely devoured by the creature, which while tasting a piece of the leg, began to slowly turn towards them. Anyway, as soon as the creature turns around, you can see the magnitude of the madness. This is Tsuchi's son with that monstrous mother. And yes, he looks a lot like his mother, with lots of fangs in his mouth and a long pointed nose. The boys scream in despair. The creature begins to growl devilishly and tries to free itself from its chains, calling the boys to get close to him, saying clearly that he is hungry and wants to devour them alive, drooling and thirsty for the pulsing flesh and blood. The creature lets out a laugh like its father's, and tries to reach the boys. Koichi yells for Satoshi to run, but the boy has his leg grabbed by the crazy one. Tsuchi's son holds onto Satoshi's clothes, who starts screaming desperately for his friend's help. But it was too late, the creature was already ready to tear its prey and give a deadly bite into Satoshi's neck. Koichi was so terrified seeing his friend eaten alive that he ran out of the house at full speed. But someone yelled for him to stop. It was Tsuchi coming right behind with his laughter. He says it's a shame, but that everyone who found his secret should be killed. And so he starts spitting his nails with his mouth. Koichi runs desperate and tries to dodge, but takes a nail right in the middle of the rear. Tsuchi really knows how to be evil. It was only a few more meters before the boy fell down in pain, begging for someone to help him. But Tsuchi was already behind him, telling him to keep yelling as much as he wanted. Koichi's end was already certain. However, the devilish man notices that there is something in front of him and is completely shocked. Look at the size of that silhouette. The two look shocked at the 3-meter-long creature that is standing in the darkness. This is Tsuchi's wife, Fuchi-san, the model of his worst nightmares. She looks at Tsuchi and says that she has finally found him. If he runs away again, she will have to kill him. Fuchi grabs a panic-stricken Tsuchi, and takes him hanging like a simple bag, into the darkness. Koichi, on the other hand, is paralyzed in despair. He definitely couldn't understand anything that happened that night. And yet the next day, he returned to see the haunted mansion, which was now deserted again, as if it had never happened. And both the policeman and his friend Satoshi were never seen again. And so ends this dark tale by Junji Ito. So what did you think of this story? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more anime recaps. See you next time.